A decades-long project has finally crossed the finish line in Miamisburg. The community naturally celebrating. Tonight, hundreds showing up for the grand opening of the new and improved Riverfront Park. Jenny Bork live in studio tonight. I can only imagine how fun the festivities were for this. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, there were a lot of people and there was a lot to do. This really was a family-friendly atmosphere. City leaders were thoughtful about making the community included in this project. After the ceremony, attendees were allowed to permanently put their handprint on it forever to commemorate today's event. Mayor Michelle Collins says this was a community effort.
The people that you saw here today were people that wanted to celebrate what they've accomplished, not just the city. We've all accomplished it together.
History was made today as Miamisburg celebrated the completion of a 20-year project. That history was also reflected on during the grand opening ceremony of the newly renovated Riverfront Park, when Miamisburg's Parks and Recreation Director described the vision of city leaders after the Great Dayton Flood of 1913.
The concluding paragraph of that report stated, "It's the thought that someday the bank of the river will be vacated and made into a park."
Hundreds of community members showed up to enjoy the park's new features like the playground, splash pad, and swings. Some celebrated by dancing in the silent disco. During the ceremony, the crowd was invited to help cut the ribbon. Some speakers got emotional while describing the journey getting here, including Mayor Collins.
That comes from a little girl who grew up in downtown Miamisburg and knew what it used to be. And it was a row of distressed homes. It was an area of crime, and even though I loved it so much then, there's no comparison to what it was then to what it is now.
The ceremony also emphasized downtown business owners' support of the project. I spoke to a couple of them about how this new park could help their businesses.
I think Miamisburg is already such a walkable community. I think it'll bring even more foot traffic. A lot of the shops down here just leave their doors open, and so yeah, I think it'll bring a lot more business to all of us.
This is the perfect time of year for us in our business, and so certainly coincides with the park opening. The bike path now is literally right behind our store.
As downtown Miamisburg continues its revitalization, hope for the future only continues to grow.
The possibilities in this park are now just limitless.
The park is now open from sunrise to sunset. We'll have the address for you in our web story at Dayton247now.com. Back to you, Adam.
Generally, thank you. We want to share some new information tonight on our top stories from around our area. A son behind bars in Kettering tonight after being accused of shooting and killing his father. Happened around 3 this afternoon at a home on Hague Avenue. Police say 35-year-old Justin August shot and killed his father inside the home. August is being held in jail on charges of reckless homicide. That charge is pending approval. We also have new developments tonight in the investigation involving human legs found at the end of a Trotwood driveway last month. 52-year-old Edgar Kiter Jr. has now been indicted by a Montgomery County grand jury. The legs were determined to belong to Kiter's father. The rest of the remains found in a storage unit. Kiter was indicted on 1 count of gross abuse of a corpse, 3 counts of tampering with evidence, as well as 2 counts of theft. He's set to be arraigned on Tuesday. Also, prosecutors have approved charges against a man accused of being involved in a road rage incident that ultimately led to an officer-involved shooting. Now, 42-year-old Kenneth Hott is facing 7 felony charges. It happened Sunday in Huber Heights. Police say it started with after a 911 caller said he was being shot at by Hott from a car. Now, when officers got there, they say Hott led them on a chase. He then got out of the car, aimed an AR-15 style rifle at officers. Well, officers shot him, but he ran away. Hott was later found and taken to the hospital. He's now being held in the Montgomery County Jail on a $10 million bond. The Dayton Police Department announcing a new online public portal. It's a place where Dayton residents can provide feedback after encounters with Dayton police. Lydia Bice sat down with the department today to learn about the new program and why it's needed.
This new service was created so that Dayton residents can report either positive or negative information about police employees directly to the department. This is an improved and convenient tool for residents to use so that they can recognize a police employee for outstanding service or report allegations of police misconduct.
Before, there was always numerous ways you could file a compliment or a complaint. You could email it, you could come in person, you could mail it, fax it.
But now, if you have a positive or negative encounter with a Dayton police officer, you can simply go online and send a compliment or a complaint directly to the department.
And if they feel that they weren't given the best services possible, they can also file that complaint, which we will follow up on.
If you're wondering exactly how it works, we asked that very same question.
A person can go online, they can file a compliment or a complaint. They're given a unique number, which they can then use to track the compliment or complaint as it moves through the system.
That way, you aren't left wondering if the department ever received the message that you were trying to get to them. And don't forget, this isn't just for negative reviews, but also if you wanted to pay a compliment to those who serve our community.
We know every day men and women of the Dayton Police Department are doing great work. We like them to be recognized because a lot of times that work goes unnoticed.
The department hopes that this new program will boost morale among officers and help them investigate any misconduct.
Now, I've linked the website where you can file compliments or complaints in the web version of this story on Dayton247now.com, and I've posted it on our Dayton 24/7 Now social media pages. Some of our viewers at home may not know this, but you can also file police reports online in the comfort of your own home if you are a victim of a crime. That can be done at DaytonOhio.gov/police. Back to you.
Lydia, thank you. Governor Mike DeWine has now signed a bill that will end the marital rape loophole. Now, House Bill 161 will eliminate the spousal exceptions for certain sex offenses, including rape and sexual battery. It'll also allow a person to testify against their spouse in a prosecution for any of those offenses. All right, so I think the biggest story tonight, Natalie, is the Northern Lights. We wish we were outside right now checking it out.
Yeah, it is incredible and a beautiful night to see them. Now, if you are away from city lights, you may be able to get some really good pictures or even see it with the naked eye. Right now with our camera, that's where we're getting the pinkish tint right here in Miamisburg. But great night. We are going to be sharing some of those pictures here shortly. We got 50s across the board, though. 54 in Dayton, 53 in Troy, 50 in Wapakoneta right now. So it is definitely on the cool side. We got some cloud cover building in, though, so get out there within these next couple of hours, because as we head overnight, we will start to see those clouds really build in as our next weather maker approaches, which will bring some showers into the area. So we do become cloudy overnight, lows dropping to around 50 degrees, but I'll have a look at our weekend forecast coming up. Well, and Team Tornado is back at it again today, this time at Urbana Elementary School. Meteorologist Tim Boyd was there for our latest presentation. Every year, our weather team goes to elementary schools across the Miami Valley to teach kids about severe weather safety. The kids have a lot of fun learning about the differences between a watch and a warning and the best place to take shelter in their homes. Our next stop is Milton Union Elementary.
Well, we are learning some new information tonight about the new Buc-ee's coming to Huber Heights. Mayor Jeff Gore posting on Facebook that the city has received the final nearly 700-page report that'll be presented to the City Planning Commission next Tuesday. Now, Gore says the report details ODOT's traffic counts and solutions and that the building is going to be 74,000 square feet. He even posted the rendering. Gore says the plans show a whopping 240 pump stations, 24 Tesla charging stations, and no car wash. President Biden receiving bipartisan pushback after saying he'd pause military aid to Israel. The new motion a congressman is making to try and impeach the president.
Plus, I'm tracking our weekend forecast and when we could see the northern lights here in the Miami Valley, which they're already visible. I'll talk more about that coming up. Here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 Now.
Well, Donald Trump going after prosecutors and the judge in his hush money trial, which could wrap up sooner than expected.
The whole case is fake. The judge is corrupt. And the only thing he gives us is to make him look a little bit good. He gives us nothing. And what he just did now is a joke.
Meanwhile, testimony is wrapped for the week. Former White House aide Madeleine Westerhout was back on the stand. She said the former president sometimes signed documents without reviewing them. She said he did so at times while he was on the phone or holding meetings. The questions pertain to an alleged $130,000 hush money payment made to former Trump attorney Michael Cohen, who is expected to take the stand on Monday. Trump's lawyers asked the judge for a gag order.
Well, we have been mesmerized all evening long by these pictures of the northern lights right here in the Miami Valley. Well, the reason why we are seeing them in the Miami Valley is because of this sunspot on the sun, which is 16 times the diameter of Earth, and it is sending basically a magnetic storm to Earth and bringing us light shows like you can see right here. Now, this image, you can see a greenish tint, but what I've seen pictures of so far in Europe from earlier this evening, as well as for us here in the Miami Valley, it has mainly been a pinkish hue to those northern lights. So here's a look at that forecast. We have a K index right now of 9, which is as high as it can get. We actually have a storm, a geomagnetic storm that is at the strongest it has ever been since 2003. So it's been 2 decades since we've seen a geomagnetic storm of this strength. So we have seen pictures so far of those northern lights going into some of the southern states, even into Alabama. Seen some pictures of the northern lights there too. So if you get out away from lights, best chance to see some of those beautiful colors, as we have mostly clear skies right now, but clouds will continue to increase ahead of our next weather maker. So get out within these next couple of hours or so. Showers do eventually build in early into the day tomorrow, mainly around 6 a.m., 8, 9 a.m. We'll be seeing those showers before they head off to the east. And we got a nice afternoon around 70 degrees tomorrow. And here's a look at some of those images that we have seen so far sent in. If you want to chime in some pictures, you can do so by heading to our website, Dayton247now.com/chime in. Beautiful images that you can see right there. That's Miamisburg into Germantown.
And many have told us that they come up better with the phones. The phone's taking the cameras, so you could, or taking the cameras, using your phone's camera to take the photos because the exposure can be slowed down to capture these colors a little bit better.
That's amazing, though. Yeah, if you get away from the lights, you may be able to see it more with the naked eye, but I think a lot of these pictures, it's with your camera on your phone, it's able to just pick up the light just a little bit better, but that is awesome. That is really cool.
Yep, this is what everybody's talking about tonight, for sure. Well, there is a push among House Republicans to draft impeachment articles targeting President Biden over his Israel aid threat. Republican Congressman Corey Mills accusing the president of forcing Israel into a, quote, quid pro quo by leveraging U.S. tax dollars against the Israeli government's war in Gaza. House GOP leadership not taking a stand on impeachment, but instead pressuring the president into releasing the aid.
You can impeach him for this? If you look, well, what we're going to do is ultimately try to get Israel the weapons they need. We want to help Israel in their fight against Hamas. I don't know if Joe Biden's forgotten about it.
Now, Mills was drawing a comparison to Donald Trump's first impeachment over his handling of Ukrainian aid. The Biden administration pausing aid as Israel pledges a ground attack in Rafah, something the White House believed could cause widespread casualties. Well, even more unprecedented levels of emergency. That is how the UN is describing the situation in Gaza. Fighting between Israeli troops and Hamas militants has cut off access to vital aid crossings. Nearly 110,000 people have already left the city since Monday, moving north into areas aid officials say are not suitable for human habitation. The UN Secretary General is issuing a new warning today about a possible all-out assault in the city.
A massive ground attack in Rafah would lead to an epic humanitarian disaster and pull the plug on our efforts to support people as famine looms.
Now, his comments follow President Biden's public ultimatum that he would halt some weapons shipments if a full-scale operation happens. Meanwhile, the UN's General Assembly overwhelmingly approving a resolution calling on the Security Council to reconsider a Palestinian request for UN membership. It would also grant Palestinians new rights and privileges. Israel's UN ambassador accusing those voting in favor of the resolution of trying to, quote, advance the establishment of a Palestinian terror state.
You can see exactly what you are inflicting upon the UN Charter with this destructive vote. You are shredding the UN Charter with your own hands.
That measure now heads to the UN Security Council. The U.S. has vowed to vote against any bid for Palestinian statehood. South Africa is filing a request for additional measures in the International Court of Justice genocide case against Israel. South Africa, who brought the case to the World Court, accuses Israel of acts of genocide against Palestinians. South Africa says the previous measures do not address the latest developments in the Gaza Strip, particularly in Rafah. In January, the World Court ordered Israel to refrain from any genocidal acts against Palestinians. All right, let's give you a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam right now. Tough to tell by this image, but we got the Aurora Borealis out there right now. Let's check in with Natalie.
Yeah, from right now, it does look like almost I could see a pinkish tint, but it's really tough to see with the naked eye. But we do have the northern lights heading in right now, so if you want to step out and see them, it is a really cool sight to see. We have rain building in, though, clouds increasing overnight and showers by tomorrow morning, and overall anticipating about a tenth to a quarter of an inch of rainfall once this is all said and done with. But it's a quick moving system. It'll be in and out for the first few hours of the morning before we start to see things clear out for the weekend. And the weekend's looking good, 60s and 70s. We got 76 for our high on Monday and then lower 70s next Tuesday and Wednesday. So overall looking really nice for us. But coming up, I'll have a look at our 7-day forecast. We'll talk more about those northern lights too.
Many Ohioans changing their porch lights to blue this week for Light Ohio Blue. The meaning behind that campaign next. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and local organizations are trying to break the stigma. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office partnered with Beckett Springs and the Dayton VA for a mental health awareness event this afternoon at Dorothy Lane Market to try and help start conversations and hand out resources.
We're trying to, just give the awareness of what the resources are in the area. We partnered with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office and the Dayton Vet Center to try to really know all the resources from children all the way to adults.
We all know loved ones that are hurting, whether it be a drug addiction or some other sort of mental health issue that might be going on. We have the resources here available through the Drug Free Coalition to get those people help.
Both the Beckett Springs and Montgomery County Sheriff's Office has a list of mental health resources on their website for those in need. Light Ohio Blue kicked off this week. It's a 10-day campaign to honor fallen police officers and those who are currently serving. Light Ohio Blue began back in 2016 in Central Ohio, but now recognizes all officers across the state. To show support, people are encouraged to change their current porch light bulbs to the color blue. Now, a lieutenant from the Dayton Police Department expressed his appreciation for the community's support.
It makes me feel good. I mean, we're out here every day doing the job, keeping people safe, keeping our community free from harm. That's what we're trying to do. And to see that, it just lets us know that people care.
4 officers from the Dayton Police Department will be heading to D.C. this week for Police Memorial Week to honor officers across the country.
The Dayton Dragons continue their annual high school showcase with 4 Miami Valley teams getting the chance to play at Dare Ballpark Friday night. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.